What's up, guys? It's John Dominique, the Soul Proponent. Today I want to talk about the terror of taking the path to the soul, how the fears, how the judgments against the indigestible quality, the repugnance that the personality feels against the path to the soul. There's a lot of fears that come up on the path, and they seem overwhelming, and often we don't feel like the fears are ever going to go away. We don't think we can overcome them. They overtake us, they saturate our being, and they envelop our lives to the point where we feel we won't be able to function correctly. And that happens for quite a long time. The path is to walk through those fears, to walk through the distastefulness, to have enough compassion for ourselves to allow the fears to be there, to allow the judgments to be there without trying to change it. A lot of people will go a certain way on the path, but they can't sustain it for very long. After, I don't know, a couple of days, couple of weeks, they end up saying it's too difficult, can't go any further. And that might be true, but we got to be aware that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So, sure, take a break if you can't go any further. And then maybe sometime in the future something will happen that'll trigger our memory, our consciousness, to return to where we left off, basically. And then we start to build from there again with a new set of skills, a new strength. It's like building muscles at the gym. You get stronger by getting weaker. You're going to take a lot of steps backwards before you take some steps forward. It's a progressive path. It's not a linear path where you're always going up or always going down. You're going to have ups and downs, and there's not going to be much control over it. And that's part of the problem with the personality. It finds the path distasteful because it doesn't have any control. It's going to end up judging the process, judging itself for not living up to some ideal standard, or not being able to complete the path the way it wants to, or when it wants to, how it wants to. We got to let go of all of that attitude and that mentality for carrying that orientation of wanting to control things, wanting things to go a certain way. That's a huge block. When we see that block, we have to be careful not to judge ourselves for judging. We have to be careful not to try to control the fact that we're trying to control things by, trying to let go of the control, by trying to control the attitude of needing to control. You can't control that. So it's a matter of allowing and having enough compassion to just allow what's there to be there. It's going to consume us for a long time. The fears are very strong. They're very real. We grow up with this idea of who we are, this identity, and it's important for our survival. We need to have this identity, and to be able to let go of that identity is what the path is about. But that's going to shake the foundation. It's going to shake our security. It feels like it becomes a matter of life and death. And to be able to sustain that feeling, that the intensity of the feeling that this is a matter of life and death, to be able to hold that, to have enough space without judging ourselves, it takes a very, very special type of mentality, a special type of attitude, a special type of grace, a humbleness, a compassion for ourselves and our process. This is very deep, and there's a lot of crying. There's a depth to our suffering, basically. And we have to go through to the other side of that suffering. The only way to do it is to go through it. You can't get around it. You can't try to fake it. You can't say, I'll just go so far and then stop. We have to keep on keeping on. And if we can't, again, just take a little break and come back to it. So the fears, the distastefulness that the personality feels against the path are very intense. And that's a huge barrier, because we're judging ourselves, we're judging the path, we're judging God. We don't like the reality and the truth the way it is, without our ideas, without our images, without what we think is best, without being able to chase our dreams. We feel life is worthless, like there's no point to living it, and the sense of value is affected by that. And basically a lot of people might end up, I don't know, some people might kill themselves. It might be better for some people not to take the path. Maybe they're not ready, because the feeling is when your soul is sucked out of you, there's no value in your life, and you have no control over anything. It's like life is worthless, it's pointless. And then we start to feel our fears, we feel our terrors. The terror of taking the path is ongoing daily practice. We've got to take it little by little, bit by bit, piece by piece, day by day. The path is perilous. It's treacherous. It's very razor sharp. It's easy to fall off the path, so we have to develop the persistence, the dedication to be able to walk this path. So basically what I want to say is, yeah, there's a terror. It's terrorizing, basically, the path to the soul. But what's more terrorizing is not taking the path to the soul. In the long run, it's going to catch up. We're not going to know what's wrong, and that's where we hit that rock bottom. It might be better to hit the rock bottom now, because the soul is here to experience while we're alive, not waiting until we're dead. It's too late by that point. So it's all about here and now. The terror is one of the costs we have to pay on the path. It'll get worse before it gets better. But it is doable. It is a thing. It's a real thing. And I encourage everyone to continue to do their best on the path. How important is it to you? How bad do you want it? How far are you willing to take it? John Dominique, the Soul Proponent.